Oof. Wow. Gives me chills every time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, of course, to Friday's edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and this is my journey. My journey into the unknown, the unexplained, the undecipherable truths that surround us. And that sounded poetic as hell, but really it's just our show. And we talk about all the paranormal weirdness that's in the world around us. So if you like that all that weird stuff, then you're in the right place. If not, stick around anyway. You might get entertained. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we got a lot to go to. Hope you guys, those of you in the U.S., had a fantastic Thanksgiving celebration. I hope all of you did. I hope all of you have had a wonderful day since I saw you last. But I don't. I'm not singling out just our country here. I mean, I hope you're all doing great. But yeah, I had a nice day yesterday, just low key, hanging out with the minion and the missus, and we had a nice dinner. But I hope you all got together with those you love and were able to enjoy yourself and eat yourself stupid and until you passed out or something like that. So anyway, we got a lot going on here tonight. As always, we're going to be hitting the news pretty soon. This is our first actual dual stream between YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So if you're a Twitch user, you'll see this happening right on Twitch as well. But if you're a YouTube user, you'll see it on YouTube. And we're also streaming live to tfrlive.com, which is an internet radio show. And that is streaming on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. So we're kind of everywhere right now. And this is a really exciting night. I'm really, really thrilled we're getting a chance to, broaden the horizons, if you will. But I'm not alone here, folks. I'm joined by the big branch of the personal family tree. Mr. Sheldon Thomas is here with me. How you doing, brother?
Doing amazing, feeling good, still happy with my meal from Thanksgiving. Hope everyone else had a wonderful meal too.
I'm sure.
I'm in good company right now and feeling good.
You know what's the best thing about Thanksgiving?
What, the food?
Leftovers. No, I'm just,
yes.
You get kind of burned out on like turkey after a few days, but you get to see how creative you can be with one dish. It's like, well, let's have turkey burritos. Now it's a turkey sandwich. Now it's a stir fry. I don't know. I mean, what the hell? You just keep, beating the hell out of the turkey until it's just the bones, and then you've done it. So, I didn't actually have a turkey. I had a brisket. But in any case, had some more today, and it was good. So we got a lot to get to, of course. Everything been going good, Sheldon?
Going wonderfully. Yeah, hope everyone else is doing good. Hope you're doing good. How have you been?
I'm doing good. And there's Lucky Gypsy saying hi from Twitch over there. Good deal.
Well, hello.
Hello, and good to see you guys. And welcome to everybody that's here. Monster Radio's in here, so we got that rolling for us. Good to meet you. Good to see you, Monster Radio. And everybody that's in here. I don't know how we're going to ever do shout outs anymore since we're, dual streaming here, but we'll just have to see what's going on. But I know I got a deck full of news for you tonight. So if you're looking to get informed or possibly learn something you didn't already know, then you've come to the right place. And hopefully I'll be able to fulfill those requirements, but I'll try. Anyway, without further ado, Sheldon, you ready to get to some news?
Always.
All right. Well, in that case, let's roll the news. Ladies and gentlemen, the news. Love that sound. All my adoring fans. or it's just a sound bite. But either way, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, with my co-anchor, Sheldon. And we're going to dig into some news articles I pulled up. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully you learn something. I mean, not all of the articles are paranormal related, but they're interesting. They're new. They're, pieces of information that I found interesting. So hopefully you agree. And let's see what the first one is. How you doing, Maggie? Good to see you. I'm just watching the chat fly by here. Yeah, this is working good. I'm actually really pleased, Sheldon. Is it looking good on Twitch?
Yeah, me too. It's looking good. It's coming in fine. Yeah, we're doing good.
So excellent. So excellent. Good deal. You're just going to be introduced a whole bunch of new people to my damage. So why not?
All us damaged people over here.
That's right. We got a full boat of damage. So if you're damaged too, then you're going to love this show. And if you have really low expectations. So, all right, here we go. The first article we're going to cover tonight on the news is one from a site that I use quite a bit, and I love this site, and I'm encouraging you all to please support this site if you would. And it's the website is called unexplained-mysteries.com. They do a hell of a job over there, and I mean, it's just been incredible source for our news. So the first story tonight is coming from the Nature and Environment segment. I don't even know what this is, but let's check it out. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. It's, I'm going to try to pronounce this. It says rare Vangunu giant rat caught on camera for the first time ever. Sheldon.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow. Ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's fascinating about this rat, but I guess it's kind of a big deal. So let's read it and see what it says. It's coming from November 24th, 2023 by TK Randall. And it says, native to the Solomon Islands, the rat hadn't even been recognized as a real species until relatively recently. Stories of enormous rats capable of climbing trees and biting through the shells of coconuts had been told among the local population of the Solomon Islands for years, prompting raised eyebrows from scientists who had long wondered if the rat really existed or if tales of its huge size were mere fables. Well, this all changed in 2017, however, when researchers from the Field Museum in Chicago visited the islands in person in an attempt to get to the bottom of the mystery once and for all. It turned out the rats named the Vangunu giant rat, or Uramis vica, were very much the real deal. Real rats, Sheldon. Eating through coconuts. Weighing 1 kilogram and measuring up to 45 centimeters in length. I have no idea what that means, but I know a kilogram is like two and a half pounds, two point some pounds. Okay, so, but what is 45 centimeters? Is that like 2 feet long? I mean, I assume they're counting the tail, but anyway, 45 centimeters, whatever that means, because I just don't have any clue. But these huge rodents were around 4 times the size of other, more common species of rat. Despite positively identifying the rats, however, the researchers were unable to get a photograph of one, and this remained the case until much more recently, when a separate team successfully managed to film the rodents for the first time using camera traps set up in the jungle. Well, they based the position of the traps on what the locals told them, and in the end succeeded in capturing 95 images of the rats as they scurried through the jungle foliage. Sadly, though, it looks as though the rats may not be around for much longer, as logging in the area is likely to completely destroy their habitat within just a few years. Wow. We found them just in time. Too. Yeah, I know. It's like, God, cue the violins. That's tragic. Well, at least they didn't go unnoticed. I don't know. Again, nature seems to find a way to make things work pretty incredibly, but not that I'm encouraging like the overzealous logging of, palm and stuff. And I think that's because coconut is a type of palm tree, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think.
I'm sure it has to do with the palm oil, and it's being logged into oblivion in a lot of the tropical areas. And so perhaps that's going to really screw up these rats. If they indeed, I don't know what else they eat, but apparently they eat coconuts. So
they actually are giant. Apparently that's 1.5 feet.
That's a lot of rat. Yeah.
That's a lot of rat. Yes.
Yeah.
It's bigger than my arm, I think. Actually, yeah. Bigger than
I don't know
this part. Yeah.
It's a lot. Anyway, it's much bigger than rats probably should be. It doesn't sound like these are the nuisance kind of rats that we deal with here in the States and many places do abroad. But still, they didn't give us much of a picture. It's like, what the hell am I looking at? I mean, this is the picture.
It doesn't look that big from the picture.
It looks like a little pig nestling in some foliage there or something. I don't know what I'm looking at, but anyway, if that's the best they got, I guess it's better than nothing. But yeah, very strange. Whatever the case. Is that the rat up? That's the rat up in the tree. Okay, I'm finally seeing what I'm looking at here. So this must be a group of like stuff in the tree. And this is the rat. There's his back leg. There's his haunches and his back. And there's his glowy little beady eye.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's still not much of a picture, but at least it's a picture. They do climb trees, apparently, and they do bite through coconuts. So I don't know I think normal rats could probably do that too. They can bite through wood and all kinds of stuff. They're just tenacious little bastards. But anyway, there you go. The Vungunu rat, just in case you ever didn't know that before, and you're welcome because you learned it here. So
why not?
Why not? That's the first story tonight, Sheldon. And
wow.
But wait, there's more. There is more, as it turns out. And this would be, I don't know if this means anything, but it sounds like it's a pretty amazing event. But I don't know if it just what it means. I guess we can find out. Here's the next story from unexplained-mysteries.com. Space and astronomy. God, how long is this? No, it's okay. Good. I saw space and astronomy and went, dope. Because sometimes those are so big. I mean, they're literally paragraphs and paragraphs long. It's like, well, this is a small little news segment. It's not like I want to educate people on astronomy here. Extremely high energy sun goddess particle falls to the Earth from space. I didn't hear anything about this.
What?
It says extremely high energy sun goddess particle falls to the Earth from space.
I'm reading it. I just don't know what a sun goddess particle is. That's awesome, actually.
That's why I pulled it up. I was like, we should probably know. And here you go. We're going to find out now. The particle is over 1 million times more energetic than anything generated by the Large Hadron Collider. Discovered by researchers using the telescope array experiment in Utah, the new particle is so beyond anything ever seen that it could open up a whole new branch of astrophysics. New types of high-energy particle are quite rare, and only a few, such as the oh my god particle. Is it the boson Higgs? They call it the oh my god? I thought it was just the God particle, but I think they're talking about the Higgs boson. Yep. In 1991, and the Higgs, different. Because here's the Higgs boson in 2012, have been discovered. The latest find, known as the sun goddess, or Amaterasu, that's like from Naruto, isn't it? Amaterasu.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Particle arrived on Earth quite unexpectedly from the deep space, among a shower of other less energetic particles. With the energy exceeding 240 exa electron volts, this new particle is several orders of magnitude greater than anything produced with particle accelerators on Earth, and is, in fact, one of the most energetic particles ever detected anywhere. The particle seems to have originated from what is known as the local void, Sheldon.
Whoa.
Okay.
I like that.
It's kind of creepy, isn't it? An empty region of space next to the Milky Way galaxy, but beyond that, we don't know where or how it was created. We don't know where or how it was created. Okay. Things that people think of as energetic, like supernova, are nowhere near energetic enough for this, said John Matthews of the University of Utah. You need huge amounts of energy, really high magnetic fields, to confine the particle while it gets accelerated. It is possible that the particle was produced by some unknown phenomena that we have yet to discover, or that its existence highlights limitations in our own understanding of the universe. The particles are so high energy that they shouldn't be affected by galactic or extragalactic magnetic fields, said Matthews. You should be able to point to where they come from in the sky. But in the case of the oh my god particle and this new particle, you trace its trajectory to its source, and there's nothing high energy enough to have produced it. That's the mystery of this. Like, what the heck is going on? That is curious.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how they know it got here. I mean, is this something that would ping off of their satellites? Like, whoa, something big just flew in, and how did they know? Because if it's this energetic and this, this powerful, I imagine it's traveling at high magnitudes of speed. So how did they know? Did it just drift lazily into Earth, or what happened? You know what I mean?
It was lazily.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe that's a stupid word, but how did it get here? I mean, how did they see it get here? I mean, if they've never detected this before, suddenly they detect. What if it's a UFO? I have
sure.
no idea.
I mean, maybe they have instruments to detect like energy and entering the atmosphere or something like, or anomalies, maybe.
I guess so. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I'm stupid, so I don't pretend to know anything about this stuff. But it's like, how did you guys know that came here? And how did you know not only that it came here, but from where it came from? I mean, who's watching that stuff? And how do they watch it? That's what I'm curious about. Is that...
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Is that like tipping the flag of some of the secret stuff that's going on? Like they're actually scanning energy particles coming into the atmosphere?
Government just self-reported.
Right? Is that it? I mean, it could be, right? I don't know. But you heard it here, folks. There's a sun goddess particle now. Came from space. Nobody knows where. Nobody knows how. But it's here. And it got here. And what does it mean then? I don't know either. I mean, there's a lot I don't know. But, God, we could do shows about that all day. Anyway, about the things I don't know, Sheldon. That's a lot of things. All right. Let's get to the next article and last article. This one sounds right up our alley, actually. But it has to do with haunted dolls and cryptids and other stuff. But it's a museum, believe it or not. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is... Haunted dolls and cryptids greet visitors at Haunted North Carolina Museum. Wow, there you go. Huh.
Wow.
Paranormal Museum. I wonder, Deb, is this the one you're talking about? Is this it? Anyway, it says Stephen Barcelo's cryptozoography. Zoography. Jeez. Where did I learn to read, Sheldon? I just get close and then just... Stephen Barcelo's Cryptozoology and Paranormal Museum at Littleton has long offered up a wealth of inexplicable enigmas. As part of the new series of articles exploring interesting and unique places relating to the unexplained, we're taking a look at an intriguing museum in Littleton, North Carolina. Founded and owned by Stephen Barcelo, the Cryptozoological... There I go again, I'm just adding things. Cryptozoology and Paranormal Museum is home to a wide range of exhibits relating to both cryptozoological, there it is, there's the actual word, creatures and paranormal phenomena. Visitors can expect to find everything from haunted dolls and meteorites to Bigfoot hair samples. Barcelo himself, who was once a journalist in New York, is now a full-time cryptozoologist and shares a keen passion for anything and everything weird and mysterious. He's also an active paranormal investigator and maintains that the museum itself is haunted. Some crazy, crazy stuff goes on in this house, he said during an interview with Alexandra Chariton. It's more about getting to the story. I hope the camera worked. I'm wondering, did I catch this? What you see or perceive is not always what you get on tape. On the subject of Bigfoot, Barcelo is clearly a believer. I think Bigfoot is flesh and blood creature, he said. We have people that come in and think that they're interdimensional, but I think that there's some divergence of Gigantopithecus. Yeah, I agree with that, but too many people have seen things. I do think I think it's out there, but they're seeing something there, and there's something out there. So there you go. And there is a little bit of a video, but we're not going to watch that. Let me put the link in the chats if any of you guys want to check it out. You can certainly do that. I don't begrudge you that at all. I'll put it in here because it'll go to both. And
nice.
I think it will. Did that go to... Yeah, it went to both.
Yep.
Just went to YouTube now. So there's the link, folks. And if you want to check it out, see the video itself. Did Deb say anything? No, I don't see that. Okay. Deb, is this something... Because Deb's in North Carolina, actually. So I know that she went over to some haunted museum recently, and I was wondering if this could have been the one that she had visited. But anyway.
Could be.
Could be. However, that's going to wrap up the news, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of it, and makes you feel a little more knowledgeable. you gain some information. And by God, knowledge is power. So you're welcome. We're going to get back to the rest of the show now. Are you ready, Sheldon?
Always.
All right. We're done with the news. Good deal, Karen. Karen says she learned tons. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the most trusted news, Paranormal Portal news. But we're back. All right, we're going to get to the rest of the show now, Sheldon. And in this segment, Sheldon's going to talk about the intricate differences between Gigantopithecus and today's Bigfoot. And go.
Beyond my pay grade. Next.
Yeah, you don't get paid, so yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. All right, so we are going to get to an article we've been working through on the last show. It's been a good one. It's about people living in haunted houses. So these are quick little quips or quotes from people that apparently live in a haunted house. And I've lived in one. Actually, you have too, Sheldon.
Yep.
So I have no doubt that probably a lot of places have the tendency or the potential to be haunted, because I don't think there's any shortage of creepy creatures or presences, I should say. I shouldn't say creepy creatures, but presences that would haunt places. A lot of times people like to think that there has to be a long history attached to a place. Like, wow, it's an old house. A lot of people died here. It's definitely haunted. And while you're right, that might generate a haunting, that isn't exclusively the way things get haunted. Sometimes it can be places that remain vacant. They're not very old, but they may have remained vacant. Oh, Lucky Gypsy coming in with some love.
Thank you, Gypsy.
Lemon character and Baby Lemon blowing a party horn while marching. Oh, is that the So it very literally quotes what the emoji name is. Thank you, Lucky Gypsy. I got the lemon character and Baby Lemon blowing a party horn while marching. Thank you so much for the love. We appreciate it a bunch. That's really wonderful. That really helps out. All right. So, but again, hauntings can be brand new locations. It doesn't have to have a history attached to it. And if there is a history attached, it can be from the land. It can be where a house is built, even if it's brand new, can get activity just by being built in the wrong place. And or
people with things following them,
yes,
coming into a space.
Yep, exactly. You can drag things around with you. People have attachments. Sometimes people are just magnets for this stuff. No matter where they are, these things will find them. And a lot of times those are psychically gifted people. I hate the term gifted because it would imply that it's some and not all. I think we all are we have psychic potential. But I don't think, however, that it's exclusive to any one group of people. The other thing that it can be is you bring something into your location that has something attached to it in a different way. It's not attached to a person. The spirit may be attached to a thing. It could be something that meant a lot to them during their day. It could be something that was maybe used for horrible purposes and has an attachment that way. It's any number of reasons why a place can be haunted, but haunted houses, I don't think that 90 some percentage or better, 95% or better are negative places. In fact, I think that is probably more like 99% of the places are not evil, horrible places. It's just that this stuff scares people. There's things happening. They don't know what the hell to do with it. It's like, well, something's happening. Things are going wacky and I don't know how to handle this. So, I mean, with that in mind, if anything moves and you can't see what's moving it and it's doing it of what it appears to be its own accord, that terrifies people. But it may just be someone standing there going, hey, I'm here. Notice me. So Again, there's lots of reasons places can be haunted, but it's not always dark and negative. And some of these stories have actually been positive. However, this is coming from a Thought Catalog article, Sheldon. And the article is 50 true stories from people who have lived in haunted houses.
Nice.
Or in a haunted house is rather a better quote for the article name. And we're on number 13. So we're going to start there. And again, these are small little scrapes from Reddit. So, and in this one, she doesn't attribute the Redditor that actually wrote it. So I apologize that I can't attribute the author. But anyway, let's read it. From ages 5 to 17, I lived in a house with activity. It was all pretty basic run-of-the-mill stuff. Footsteps, voices, lights turning on and off, doors opening and shutting, batteries draining, etc. If we started renovating, which we almost always were, we'd get more active and start throwing. They'd get more active and start throwing stuff. I got used to it, but didn't hurt us, so we just let it go. Even my father started believing after a while. But the worst thing they ever did was while we were moving in. I was 5 years old. My friend and I were playing in the only room that was finished in the basement while my parents were moving the stuff in. My friend's parents were helping. Suddenly, the door to the room slammed shut. No wind, no draft, no explanation. And then the lock engaged with a click, and someone started laughing. We were stuck in the room for 2 hours. Oh, that's horrifying for a 5-year-old.
Oh, God. That's the nightmare right there.
Yeah, that's like therapy fuel right there, dude. I'm going to need to talk to somebody for a while about this. How do you process that? That's got to be terrifying. So you're seeing something that would make an adult like collectively poop themselves. But these are 5-year-old kids and then they're locked in. They can't do anything.
No, that's a core memory unlocked right there. Oh no, that's their core memory. No.
Yeah, that's going to be a central theme in their life with attachment and being abandoned, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But crazy story. I believe it's absolutely true. That wouldn't surprise me. What a bastard, though, that spirit. What a dick. I mean, 5-year-olds. It's like, I'm bored. I'm just going to lock some 5-year-olds in here until they scream and wail for 2 hours. Wow, that's cold. Anyway, let's go to the next one, which is 14. I guess we're going backwards. Did I read that many of them? I guess I did. Oh, no, we're going up. That was 13. Okay. Living in Chicago last year in the top floor apartment with a 3-flat style building. The kitchen at the back of the apartment had a door leading to a staircase down to the basement, connecting all the apartments and to outside. My housemate was cooking, and she left the back door open as we had no AC or windows big enough for ventilation. As I walked into the kitchen, she ran to the back door and slammed it shut, as I heard a woman's voice saying, "Hello," over and over coming from the stairs. We stood behind our door listening, and we could hear someone was coming up the stairs really slowly, the steps creaking all the way up to our back door. Then they reached the top, turned around, and went back down again. After 5 minutes of being quite freaked out, another housemate and I slowly went down to the basement with some makeshift weapons. It's like the tennis racket swords and stuff. And checked it out. I guess I could do this. Put it up on screen. And checked it out, looked around and inside everything possible, calmly saying hello back, but there's nothing there. A lady did live in the basement apartment, but would never have any reason to come upstairs to the top, and was nowhere to be seen either. The landlord then let us know his mother haunts the whole building. Oh,
Oh my God.
it's okay. It's just Mom. She's collecting the rent. Oh, no, that's harsh. That's really harsh, huh?
Oh, what a mother.
It's his mom.
Oh my God.
Wow, that would be one of those situations. you'd hate to see that your mom is stuck in a place, but
Well,
maybe she just
if
loved it,
if it is indeed the mother, and that's something
Well,
else. But yes,
that's a good take.
that's
That's actually a good take. It
you
could
never
be
know.
something else. You're right. So if it is the mom, that's probably a weird afterlife, but to each their own. I don't pretend to know for sure what happens there, but I'm hoping I'm hoping I don't end up stuck in a room somewhere. All right. Number 15. I lived in an older home for about 5 or so years. My stepdad, who knew the man who lived there before us, told me he hung himself in the attic. Aw, that's so tragic. I honestly didn't think much of it. That is until I heard the footsteps. Like clockwork, every night at 3 a.m., I would hear footsteps walking along the length of the attic, which would go over my room. The steps were heavy, and you could clearly tell the pace was at a normal walking speed. It sounded like a man contemplating something, just thinking about his next move. If it really was the former owner, were those his final moments being played out every night before his fateful decision? Who can say? But there are other stories, but those footsteps, which went on for years, still freak me out. That is crazy. And the thing that I think is craziest about the footsteps is that you're dealing with something that doesn't have mass. It doesn't have weight in our estimation, right? Because it's like literally not there, but can make audible footsteps, and even creating vibration of footsteps. Like people will say that they heard the footsteps and they felt the impact of the boots running up and down the hall, like the vibration of the floor. So it's like it's interacting with the environment as if it had weight and size and mass and all of the things you'd expect from a body, but without the actual body.
Oh yeah, that's a science that we're just not
Right.
ready for. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least it still eludes us, but it's the crazy part of it. I mean, and then you think about moving things, so it's, interacting with the physical world around it, whether through the footsteps. Now, the footsteps could just be residual. They could just be the imprint of that guy in his final moments about to, call it quits. And what a tragic thing. And to everybody listening to the sound of my voice, if you're in that sad place, if you're in that deeply desperate, sad place, please reach out to someone. Please call a helpline, call someone, get help, because it's such a tragic thing. And it's such a horrible, horrible finish to, anybody's life. And it just leaves such deep scars for the living, I think, more than anyone, those that survive and have to carry on after that and try to make sense out of it. And, it's just such a painful thing. So if you're in a dark place, please get help. There's plenty of people out there that want to help you. Email me, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'll help you any way I can, but please find someone that can help you and can help talk to you. And everybody has someone if you just reach out. So anyway, just some thoughts. But my heart goes out to those people. I am unfortunately one of those people that live with the scars of a suicide, and it pains me to this day. It's just something that I will never lose. So, and I just wish there was something that I could have done to change it. I just wish, but there isn't. So please reach out and get help if you're in a dark, sad place, and let somebody help you. All right, number 16. While many things have happened, but one thing just sticks out in my mind the most. I just add a whole bunch of different words, but I basically said the same thing. It was my mom who had it happen, not myself directly. Backstory. The house we lived in was photographed in the 1860s in a book at the local library. It was shown to be one of the first houses to have a radio and some sort of headphone device on top of someone's head. The story. I go on my merry way to school one day. My mom is home alone cleaning up after breakfast, not too soon after I leave. So she's doing her things and she begins to hear music upstairs. So she thinks to herself that I had left the radio on, and she's mad because we are poor and trying to save every penny we can on our electric bill. She gets to the top of the stairs, which has an open railing. She looks to the right, and there's a pair of legs standing there, tapping feet to the music. She didn't even stay to look up for a body. She noped the hell out of there as the music stopped and the legs began to turn towards her. My mom made me sleep with her for like a week. I was 15 at the time. I've had numerous experiences in that house, though. It made a skeptical, big, burly construction worker with sun-kissed skin turn pale as a ghost. The stuff is no joke. I had to read that and figure out how to rephrase that. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you can be a big tough guy and stuff, but once stuff happens that's all the way outside of your experience, then it's okay to run like a scared kitten.
Oh yes, especially when you're talking about the unknown, and
right?
The paranormal. It's not really much you can really defend yourself with in that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, number 17. My ex-wife was staying at her grandparents' house, which used to be a church. All the cousins have stories from this place, but my wife's was an odd one. They are all listening to the radio one night when the window drapes start moving a lot and nothing but static started coming from the radio. The girls freaked out and started screaming, and as soon as they started screaming, it stopped, and a voice came out of the radio saying, "Sorry to have bothered you. I'll leave you alone now." The drapes went back to place, and the music comes back on. Wow.
How considerate. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Just leaves.
Exactly. Jem Gwynn says, my oldest daughter just came forward saying she was contemplating it. Aw, we're getting her some help now, and she's doing better. Hotline workers and the professionals who are helping are truly heroes.
Good.
Oh, good.
Good. Yes.
I'm so happy to hear that. And, not that she's having troubles, but that she was brave enough to confront that and get help. God bless her. And our heart goes out to her, Jem. Thank you for sharing that. And to you as well. Love you all and please wish her well for us. Tell her to keep fighting no matter what. Just keep fighting.
Yep.
Here's the next one, number 18. Used to have regular repeating nightmares where, someone's in the house. You walk down the hall, find your family brutalized in the kitchen, the old kitchen before remodeling, and run for the door with only a faint chance of escape before getting caught. Years after we moved out, I learned that my brother had been having the exact same nightmare. Neither of us had ever talked about it before.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Wow.
Both people having nightmares similarly.
Yeah. It's kind of a family thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. Number 19. Rebuilt a 100-year-old mansion. Wow. A mansion even. One night, both my wife and I heard a voice say, "Listen." Empty house except us. Very spooky. Later found out my uncle knew the family that had lived there decades ago, and the father ended himself by jumping off the third-story balcony. It was not questionable. We both heard it and quizzed each other as to what exactly each had heard. Yeah, well, yikes.
Well, kind of like you said, as far as the stories you read, sometimes entities don't like you messing with their, homes and properties.
Oh, yeah. If you ever want to find out if you're haunted, just start doing work in your house. Start renovating or remodeling. Oh, my God. It does. It just makes things jump to life.
Yeah.
Number 21. Oh, did I skip one? Yeah, I did. Number 20, rather. Too many to tell, but I'll tell the one that screwed with me the most. I'm working night shifts, so I sleep during the day. Duh. Duh.
Okay.
BF and what? Boyfriend or and mother-in-law went out for the day?
Yes.
Okay. Boyfriend and mother-in-law went out for the day. I know for a fact no one was home. I woke up, laid there for a second, groaned and stretched, and a man's voice groaned back right beside my head. Oh, God. I noped out of there pretty fast. Checked the house, home alone. Fun fact, the previous owner was an elderly man who died in the front room. He likes to shut and lock our doors when we're not paying attention. Zoinks! Got again. Nice. Number 21, my mom worked 3 to 11 and usually got groceries and whatnot on a Friday or Saturday night when she knew I'd be home to help bring them in. I was playing video games and she called the house phone to let me know she was almost there. Normal, completely normal. I went and waited for her to pull in the driveway and noticed a woman that was nobody I knew standing behind me in the reflection from the light in the kitchen. She stared at me for probably 5 seconds before walking into the adjacent hallway leading to my bedroom. I asked my mom about it, and she said it was probably my grandmother and not to worry about it. Yeah, okay.
That's good. Yeah, okay.
Don't worry, it's just grandma. Yeah, that's got to be creepy, though. How do you just stand there and watch something stare at you, though? Would you?
Hard to say. It depends on the scenario and the vibes I got from it.
Well, I mean, just the fact that something's behind you staring at you, I think instantly would give me the "what the hell are you doing" vibes.
Oh, behind you.
Yeah, so you're not even actually seeing it; you're seeing it in a reflection. So he was.
I'd be petrified.
Right. Well, would you whip around and look?
I don't know. I might not want to find out.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, because you can't unsee that either way. But man, that's a tough one. Well, anyway, that's crazy. Ooh, Maggie's eating gnocchi. I think it's gnocchi, and trying to type. I love gnocchi, especially in like an Alfredo sauce or cream sauce. Oh God.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, making me hungry. All right, here we go. Number 22. As a kid, I would make stupid videos with my friends. Sounds like me as an adult. Thank you. I'm here all night. As a kid, I'd make stupid videos with my friends, and sometimes I like to rewatch them and cringe at our shenanigans. Well, quite recently, I rewatched a video a friend and I made in 08 or 09. The video consists of our usually screwing about, and halfway through the video, there's a short 2-second clip wherein my friend is flailing a toy sword around and screaming in my room. My friend's sitting with his back to the open door. A dark figure is seen walking down the hallway past the open door. The figure's only visible for a split second, but there's no doubt something passed by. The thing is, I remember vividly being home alone that day. What do you mean? Your friend was there? What? How do you know it's that day? Is that falling apart for you too?
Yeah.
Because he's watched this. Oh, wait. Listen in the back. A dark figure is seen walking down the hallway just past the open door. Figure is only visible for a split second, but there is no doubt something passed by. The thing is, I remember being vividly being home alone that day. Well, you filmed your friend, so you weren't home alone. Unless he just means no one else was there. Okay. Maybe he just means that was it. It was just he and his friend. My father always told me a guy burned to death in that hallway. And my mom swore that sometimes she heard coughing at night. I remember the hallway always smelling faintly of smoke, even though no one in my family smoked. I don't know. Kind of spooky.
Huh. I always think it's weird, though. One thing I will say about these kind of stories is that they'll talk about a video, a source, or whatever.
Okay.
But there's never a link to it, ever.
Well, right. And these are scraped from a Reddit thread, so it's tough to know who said them, and even if you did, would they want to comment? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. It's hard to say, but yeah, that is creepy. I think it was. I'm home alone might mean no parents at home. Yeah.
Oh,
I think you're
true.
right, Rachel.
Yeah, good point, Rachel.
Good points. Yeah. watching the footage alone. Okay. Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's a weird culmination of points to put in there. But I think they just mean during the day of that recording, it was just he and his friend home. Nobody else was home, is what I think he meant, but it wasn't real clear in the narrative. So, all right, number 23. Several people, myself included, have seen or felt a presence which we have affectionately called the man in white. In order, here are the stories. My brother was cooking with his girlfriend in the kitchen, and from the periphery, he saw a white figure pass in front of the kitchen door. As he walked through the hallway, and I was in my room, and he asked me if I had passed through there, and I hadn't. A maid was a maid? Oh, really? A maid, wow. Sheldon. A maid was cleaning the bathroom, and she felt in a really intense manner that someone was looking at her from the bathroom's door. She told my mom about it, really affected by it. A different maid was walking. A different maid.
Whoa! What kind of family?
I don't know I don't know what this family is, but God, man. All right, a different maid was walking through the hallway that connects the bedroom and on her way to clean the bathroom that's on the way to my room. When she got to the bathroom, the door was open and saw a figure standing in front of the toilet. She assumed it was me peeing with the door open and quickly turned away and continued on to the bedrooms to tidy them up. Well, I was in my room, so when she got to it and saw me, she turned around to the bathroom to check if there was someone else. She screamed and sat at my bed pale and with goosebumps when she notices it wasn't there anymore. Yeah, that'll freak you out. All right, here we go. While I was in the same bathroom brushing my teeth, I saw a shadow pass through the hallway. Granted, I don't give my story much importance because it might have been nothing, but it just and just my brain forming patterns. Last one, my mother's sneakers fell to the floor from the top of the washing machine. It wasn't turned on. Sneakers, they shouldn't fall by themselves, right, Sheldon?
Shouldn't, no.
Okay. My mother even brought an uncle of hers who was a priest to cleanse the house. And that was before the second maid and I saw him. I know these stories are pretty mild, but the man in white is pretty chill. He's become a recurrent joke at our house. The dogs are looking fixedly at the wall, the man in white. I lose my socks, the man in white. Someone feels a presence somehow, chill, man in white. Gotcha. Well, there you go.
Wow. Well, it sounds like they took the power away from it, like not giving it fear, just like, just the man in white.
And again, I don't know that these things are always looking for fear. I think there are some entities that seem to feed off of fear. They seem to feed off of people being freaked out and really struggling to handle the situation. But I think most situations are just, these things are there and they just maybe want acknowledgement, or they're just doing their thing and they don't really care either way. There's a chance they might not even be aware of you there. You know, it's perhaps a dimensional kind of thing where we're the ghost to them, they're the ghost to us. You never know.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that one.
Me too. That's a really wild one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 24. My house was abandoned for 2 years before we bought it. Here you go, sitting alone, empty house. When we went for the viewing, there was a bedroom closet that was padlocked shut. I think barn door latch with a lock through it. Realtor said they had no key and we couldn't open it unless we bought it. Well, we ended up buying it, and priority number one was opening that door. After a few minutes with a pry bar, we get in to reveal a child's play area. Bright colored walls, glow-in-the-dark stick-on stars, and planets cover the ceiling. Checkered tile for the floor, no lights, no air vents, no windows. My little brother chimes in, well, this must be where they kept the kids before they died. Ooh. Fast forward through 3 months of renovations to when we move in and are living there. The loft area has a daylight sensing motion sensor light, as there was no easy way to install a switch. The light comes on by itself all hours of the day. No matter what way we position the sensor, It randomly trips and we jokingly shout, "Will you darn kids quit running in the house?" And that's usually the last time it happens on that day. A year into living there, and we have turned the creepy closet bedroom into our computer room. We leave for work at the same time each day, but arrive home about 2 hours apart, and I get a call from a very confused wife one day asking why I had come back home after we had left together. I did not go back home. Upon returning from work, she was greeted by our computer room chair in our kitchen. The chair had to travel through 2 doorways, down a hallway, and a flight of stairs to reach the kitchen, seemingly by itself. We thought it odd, but blamed the dead kids, those heathenistic kids. Whoops. About 6 months later, and after that, we have our last big doozy of an event for a while. We go to bed one night to a house in perfect order. Upon waking, we find that all our kitchen knives have been removed from the butcher's block. In their place, all of our butter knives. The sharp, dangerous knives have been placed behind the kitchen sink instead. We, neither one, had moved them. We both pretty freaked out and spent the whole day away from the house trying to sort it out. We decided we were being unreasonable and went home to forget the ordeal. Ghosts aren't real, and there weren't actually any kids who died there. Talking to the neighbor one day, and he confirms that no kids died in the house. A grown man had. The room with the creepy closet was the room where the previous owner's brother ended his life. When his wife left and they failed to work it out, he couldn't handle life anymore and hurt himself. Mm-hmm. The previous owner kept living there afterwards, but upon finding out he was foreclosed on, attempted to do himself in the same room. His children found him and he lived. Later that year, our family grows. The rooms all get shuffled to make room for a baby. The creepy closet room, it gets emptied. The weird things all stopped happening. To this day, 9 years later, that room is only used for storage. My 4-year-old son plays in there occasionally, but even in the daytime with all the light in the windows lets into the bedroom, he turns every light on. When asked why, he just said, "It makes it less weird to play there." Huh. That's a little creepy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Crazy stuff, man. It's the little ones see it. All right, here's 25. I think this will be the last one we'll read. Number 25, ladies and gentlemen, haunted houses. The house I grew up in had a slightly strange design in that all the bedrooms were clumped together at one end of the house, and the kitchen and living room were at the other end. I don't think that's a strange design. I think that's pretty common. The 2 areas were connected by a long, narrow hallway that had a bathroom in the middle and approximately 900 closets on either side. My bedroom door was at the end of the hall, with 2 other bedroom doors facing each other across the hall on either side. Basically, this meant that if you were sitting in our living room, you could look straight down the hallway to my bedroom door. Now, lots of strange and frightening things happened in that house, but the one thing that we could never rationalize away or lie to ourselves about was the darkness at the end of the hall. Like I said above, the hallway was very long and narrow, and it was also paneled in dark wood. Yeah, that's not a good design. So it was pretty dark down there, but with the living room lights on, there was always enough light to see down the hall and make out my bedroom door. But sometimes we'd be sitting in the living room and get the feeling that we were being watched or that something was about to happen. When that would come over us, the end of the hallway would be completely blacked out. It was like someone dropped a curtain over the end of the hall. You could see part of the way down, and then there was just blackness.
God.
Wouldn't that suck? Yeah.
Oh, no.
When this would happen, our 3 little dogs, God bless them, would go to the mouth of the hallway and sit in a line across it, staring down into the darkness. Sometimes they bark a little or growl, but mostly they just sat and stared. Once in a while, one of them would get brave enough to walk down the hall, but they never got more than halfway to the darkness before they'd stop and back up. They'd walk backwards up the hall, never turning their back on whatever they were looking at. After a little while, the oppressive feeling would lift, the darkness would disappear, and the dogs would wander off. This didn't happen often, but compared to all the normal spookiness in that house, things disappearing, stuff flying off the shelves, strange voices or breezes, etc., that was the one thing we could never convince ourselves was just in our heads.
Man, that reminds me of one place I did security at. When I would have to do the patrols, it was always the night shift. And in the basement of that building, there was always this one dark hallway that I don't know how long it was, but there was always this like red light. I don't remember if it was the exit sign or if it was just a red light there for light. But there was one night when I opened up that door to that dark hallway, and there was no red light. It was just pitch blackness.
Oh.
And I was like, no.
You were nope.
No, don't make me do this, please. My childhood fear's coming back.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's not even nice. That's not even nice. Did you go down and check it like you had to, or what?
Yeah, I did. I was scared the whole time, but yeah,
Good
when I was younger.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I worked security when I was right out of high school too, and that was there was some times it was really. I mean, I was in a parking ramp in North Minneapolis area, so it was kind of sketchy anyway. But no, it was a lot sketchy. I don't mean kind of. It was a lot sketchy, but I made it out of there, thank God.
Yeah.
And again, I'll pat myself on the back. I never lost a car. Nobody had any break-ins during my shift ever, which wasn't true for every other shift. So,
ooh, wow.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll take a little bit of credit for that. Thank you very much. No, I just like to think I was pretty tuned into it. I could just, get those feelings. You always got to follow your gut, I figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just, when the thing you're supposed to scan for your patrols is right at the other end of that hallway. It's like,
oh really?
Oh, yeah, because we had like this little scanner thing. We'd like scan and it would log kind of like when we would do our patrols and whatnot. It was like, oh, no, I have to do this. I have to go there.
Oh, no. Yikes. Well, you made it, though. The good news is you confronted it. You didn't surrender to the fear.
Oh, no, for sure. I'd get in trouble if I did that anyway. So I'm like, nope. I need the job.
Yeah, everybody needs that paycheck. Yeah. All right. My house when I was a young boy had strange things, but not like dishes lifting off the table by themselves. Oh, really? Glades Creatures says, wow. That's pretty crazy, though. I mean, yeah. I think, granted, a lot of paranormal activity with ghosts really doesn't involve moving things. Usually it's electronic disturbances. Can be stuff missing that where you put it and is not there. Sometimes it's bad feelings, or obviously the feeling of being watched is a big one. That comes up a lot in the paranormal. And I really do believe we have a sixth sense for it. And maybe it came from when we were fighting our way off of the evolutionary menu, so to speak. Like maybe our ancestors were really good at feeling that because they were actually being watched by things that were going to eat them, and so it just became a genetic imperative that you had to be able to pick that up. So maybe that's a genetic memory that gets passed down to us, and I think some of this stuff certainly would be, but I think everybody's got the ability to know when they're being watched, and I don't know what that is, but I've heard. I can't tell you any white papers or any locations to go look it up, but I've heard, they say, well, I've heard it said that there's actually been studies done on that, and it does seem to indicate that is a very real thing that people can tell when they're being watched. And so I don't know where you can verify that, where you can look up that information to go, yeah, I saw it on this page at this, or this academic study. I don't know, but I've heard that has been verified. Has it really? I don't know. But I do know that I trust my gut feelings a lot. Like, yes. I live and die on them. It's like, if something doesn't feel right, it's not right,
Yep.
And 99% of the time, I swear to God, I'm right when I feel that way. Not 100, but, and maybe I am, and it just never became apparent what. But it's
True.
just, you got to listen to those gut feelings. When something is going on and your gut's saying this isn't right, hell yeah, listen to that. Hell yeah. Don't do something that you were going to do that before you felt that. Just change your plans. Absolutely. Don't even play with it, because I think that's how we got off of the food chain. I think it is. Yeah. Well, you just imagine being like a cave guy, and everything's going to eat you. Everything, if it has an opportunity, is going to eat you. It's like, yeah, I'll bet you develop some skill.
Oh, Rachel. Yeah, you know what? I've wondered that exact same thing, if that's where that gut feelings come from.
Yes, it is. That is what they say. That there are actually formations in the gut that, it's not just a figure of speech about it being the second brain, that there are neurons and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Sorry, I got something in my eye here. I was going to say, got to rub it out, but that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right at all. I am rubbing.
What's the rating for this show again?
Yeah, M for mature, or I for immature.
The rating just got leveled up to M now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's my skill level here, folks. All right, so let's get to the next one, and we're going to go to the cryptid corner now, folks, because it's time to talk about creatures and stuff. I hope I got enough. I might have to farm up a couple more, but in any case, I know I got one that I'm really looking forward to reading to you guys, because when these stories come up, I'm absolutely fascinated by them. And we're going to start our journey into the cryptid corner, of course, at SasquatchChronicles.com. And, of course, this is Wes Germer's site. Wonderful guy, and he does a wonderful job keeping this current, posting a lot of things on there that supplement his show quite a bit. And so if you haven't stopped by SasquatchChronicles.com, you're missing a big part of the Sasquatch Chronicles picture. So stop over there and check out the blog. But it's also, the place where you can get listings of, his postings and episodes and stuff. And he sometimes does special episodes. So watch those, because you may not get notified. All right, here we go. Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Let's put it up on screen. There we go. November 24th. Strange experience while fishing. How long is this one? It's a little longer. It's not too bad. A listener writes, from the UK, so very limited to Bigfoot, but listen to your show daily. Wanted to drop you an email just to tell you about an experience that I had 15 years ago whilst in the British Columbia, the BC, I guess, British Columbia. Don't know if it was Bigfoot related, but wanted to get your thoughts more than anything. My dad and I are big fly fishermen, and we vacation out to BC every year for a week or two. Mainly sticking to the lower Squamish River, chasing coho and chum salmon. We arrived this year to find that the days prior had been very, very, very wet, and lower Squamish was a washout, and very, very high, and the color of chocolate milk. We did what everything fisherman does on a fishing holiday, and went to the local fishing shop to get some advice on what/where we could go to find better conditions. The guy at the Whistler Fly Shop directed us up the valley following the 99 north towards Pemberton, and then following Pemberton Portage Road, which followed a small river and train like a train line further north. We found a spot to park next to the road at one side of the bridge that crossed the river. Being young and being keen and quickly tackled up and shot down through the undergrowth to get to the river. Very quickly, I had a personal best bull trout from a deep pool just under the bridge and was super pumped to explore more. It was a lovely day, really warm September day with bright skies and no wind. Once I'd gone through the pool where I had the big bull, I waded my way down and under the bridge, fishing as I went. It was a gorgeous river full of lovely deep pockets, so naturally I fished from one to the next, slowly making my way downriver. At this point, I should add that my family have been an outdoors family all my life. I was very comfortable being out in the woods and mountains, and although not from the States or Canada, we had vacationed there every year since I was a kid, so I was used to the noises of the forest and, like I say, comfortable being out there in the great outdoors. As I continued to fish further and further south, or further and further downriver, I remember noticing when I finally looked up from the river and took in my surroundings that the forest around the river was denser and dark. And I vividly remember noticing how there was not a sound, not a bird, an insect, nothing. Deathly silent. I was suddenly struck with this overwhelming sense that something wasn't right and felt something was watching me and I should get out of there ASAP. It was something I have never experienced. It was this sudden built-in urge to get the hell out of there, really hard to describe. It was like everything slowed down. Heart pounding and the noise in the river flowing past me even sounded muffled. Having waded down the river, it was impossible for me to wade back up, so my only option was to get out of the river and trek back up through the forest and follow the river back to the road. Not going to lie, but the scariest face, I think they mean fast-paced walk I've ever experienced. The whole way turning to look behind me with this feeling like I was being stalked. Once back to the car, I sat and waited for my dad and didn't mention anything at the risk of him thinking I'd lost my bottle. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Sorry.
Ha ha.
Ha, ha. Ho, ho, ho. I got Christmas music pounding through my head.
Oh my God.
Like I say nothing seen or even heard, but that fear that overcame me literally out of nowhere. And that feeling of being the prey has stuck with me for all these years. Since listening to your show and hearing witnesses mention about that overwhelming fear and the feeling like they were being stalked has just got me thinking. I've always been open to the idea of Bigfoot, but if I'm honest, at the time, it never crossed my mind and didn't until recent years listening to your show. What do you think? A BC Squatch watching me or just a British tourist losing his nerve? I'd be interested to hear your views. And then, look at the first response from Christopher N. Trust your instincts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool.
Trust that, in a way. Like, here's an example. Trust that gut feeling. If you're getting that feeling of being watched, of being prey, then...
Yeah. Prey. You're
Someone's telling you.
I always pray I'm not the prey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
God.
Come on. You're usually eating that stuff up. They're usually eating up stuff like that.
I'm a hypocrite. It's only when it comes from me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were such a purist. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good story, though. I mean, again, what happened? Nothing. It just got dark and quiet. But I've experienced that quiet before, and it's kind of a really unnerving feeling. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. This is about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. I was called up to a friend of mine was out of town at the time, and his wife and little baby were staying alone up at their house in the mountains. In fact, the same house where I saw a UFO. And they had a German Shepherd up there, and she said, I don't know what's wrong, but the dog won't quit barking. It's going crazy, just going crazy. I'm like, well, can you bring him in? She's like, no, I can't. But I'm really nervous. I don't know what's going on up here, but the dog won't settle down. So I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, I'll come up. So I got in my car and I drove 25 minutes to this house up in the mountains. And I get up there, get out of my car, shut the door, and the dog's going crazy. Rawr, 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 rawr. And I'm like, wow, it's a German Shepherd. So, they're very protective dogs. But
yeah,
I just couldn't hear anything other than the German Shepherd barking. So I called him over to me and he quieted down, just got real quiet. And I stood there, and then it dawned on me. There was no sound, nothing. It was like Kerry Arnold said it best. He said, it's like the forest is holding its breath. And that is really what it felt like. It was just like, oh, good grief, it's quiet. And this is up in the mountains in summertime, so there should have been like tree frogs and crickets and all kinds of racket, but it was just silent. And I could hear the creek running below me. I could hear a bit of a breeze, but other than that, it was just densely quiet. And it was a thick quiet. And I couldn't get my head around it. It's like, what makes the bugs shut up? I mean, because if you think of bugs, they have like eat and mate, and that's about it. That's like the higher functions of bugs. But somehow they even cue in on this weirdness. And I'm not suggesting what was going on was Bigfoot or cryptid. I just don't know. I just know that silence was indeed deafening. It was just really unnerving. And I was just like, wow. So I grabbed a big stick and just held onto it and just walked around the house with the dog. And he quit barking, and I just stood there with him in the courtyard just waiting, and it was dead silent. And then slowly a cricket started chirping, and then some other bugs started chirping, and then the tree frogs came in. It was like, oh, thank God, because I don't know what it was, but something made that forest shut down. And that is a creepy thing, like bugs, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
What makes bugs shut up? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand. And is it an energetic thing? Just that suspense is so powerful that even bugs cue in on it and go, ooh. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know.
Did you ever get like the feeling that you're being watched, or was it just kind of creepy in general?
I never got the feeling that I was being watched directly. I just had the feeling like there was something there. It could have been a grizzly. It could have been a mountain lion. I mean, it could have been a number of things. And maybe the mountain lion was there stalking that dog. Like it was, the mountain lions will take out dogs in a hurry, They are incredibly successful predators. But I also thought about Bigfoots and, of course, Dogman. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? But never heard anything moving, never heard anything at all. Never thought I was being watched directly, but I felt like I was being watched indirectly. Like my presence was known, but it was just going to wait and watch what I did. And that could be a big cat too. And certainly they're very skittish around people and they act pretty intelligently. So it could be wolves for all I know. I don't know. But those things are all up here. There's grizzly, there's black bear, there's wolves, there's mountain lions, and here I am with a stick. Up in a mountain.
Going back to the Ooga Booga days, you and a stick.
Hey, I'm telling you, those sticks, they will save your dirt in a minute. But yeah, I just didn't know. I was just like, God, what is making it be so quiet? What can affect the environment like that? And I don't know that it would be a bear or a mountain lion, but I'm just saying it could be. I certainly couldn't rule it out. I couldn't rule anything out because I saw nothing. I just experienced that quiet. Frogs can be croaking in the city park, and I'm 30 feet away, and they stop. Yeah, I guess frogs, maybe they just, anything nearby they will shut up. But crickets, it's like even the crickets and stuff. Frogs, you're right. I mean, frogs, anything that is a prey animal, probably, if they notice anything's moving around, they're going to shut up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll give you that. Rachel, for sure. And again, I don't mean to suggest it was definitely a Bigfoot or anything like that. I just don't know what it was, but I can tell you that it was such a suspenseful moment, just waiting and seeing what was going to happen next. So, and nothing happened. Just slowly the sound came back. So maybe
it's probably the best result right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe existence is watching you when all goes quiet. Yeah, you don't know. I mean, if there's a spirit of the forest, maybe it's like, oh, what's going to happen? Look at this. We got this creature and these people here. Maybe. And
Oh, cute. He has a stick.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. He got the stick. Cue the crickets.
Oh no. He's got the stick, guys.
Never mind. He's armed with a stick. It's over. Yeah. Send the mountain lion that's way. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I can't suggest it's anything for sure, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
All right. But that was from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And please check it out. Check out the Sasquatch Chronicles blog. That's all I can tell you. Good stuff. And it's, a lot of people go over there and you can usually get good comments on the threads that Wes does post. So check it out. All right. We're going to head over to Phantoms and Monsters now, Sheldon.
Oh, Phantoms.
Verticuda. The magic stick. Run away. Maybe it was the magic stick. Maybe I didn't know that. I just picked up a random stick, but maybe it wasn't so random.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the stick. Hey, I know. Good to see you. What's that?
You were meant to pick it up.
Yeah, it's the stick of fate. The stick of shattered pelvises. I don't even know what that means. It just came out.
I'm not sure, but it's named. It's a name stick now. It's the stick of shattered pelvises.
That's right. It'll shatter any pelvis. Well,
stick man in hiding. Rachel.
Brenton the big stick. Yeah, you know that. And for another libation of my choice, which is water. Does a body good. All right. We're going to move over to Phantoms and Monsters now, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lon Strickler's site. A wonderful site at that. And if you're not familiar with Phantoms and Monsters, then you should check it out. Lon's been at this for decades. The guy is very much a pillar of our community. And he's been on the show a few times. We've had some great talks. He's a very entertaining guy and very knowledgeable. And it's fun to pick his brain about some of this weirdness because, again, I don't know what's going on with a lot of this stuff, to be honest with you. But I know I find it all fascinating because, again, where things are weird is where we're being shown something that's not supposed to exist. And I think that's profound. So, Lon's site is a great location for hearing about encounter stories, much like we read often on the show. People running into Dogman, Bigfoot, all kinds of manner of creatures and Fortean topics. He also has research teams. He does cooperative research all over the country with many groups around dealing with all of these different topics as well. So you can cue in on some of that and find out some fascinating stories, as well as his own published works and his podcast, which is called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you can find Phantoms and Monsters Radio also on YouTube, so check it out. Get subscribed over there. Lon does live shows over there and does a great job talking about a lot of these articles. And it's extra cool because he's the one that wrote them. So very cool inside knowledge a lot of times. So here we go. We're going to go to phantomsandmonsters.com. And this is Australian witness describes bizarre, tall, antlered shadow being. A bizarre, tall, antlered shadow being.
Interesting.
Right. Now, oftentimes we've been hearing, and if you're making the rounds in the paranormal world, you'll hear these stories of what's called not deer. And not deer are a weird phenomena, but basically they are bipedal deer. And they look, for all intents and purposes, like deer, except they are bipedal and seem to be just a little bit different than your normal run-of-the-mill ungulates. So what are they? I don't know, but they're apparently, I don't know if they're like quadrupedal and bipedal or if they're just bipedal, but when people see them, they're watching them walk around on 2 legs, not on 4. So, and it does seem as though they have a hand. So is it a skinwalker? Something akin to a skinwalker in a weird transformation, maybe. Whatever it is, it's really weird.
Buckle up, guys. Some more nightmare fuel coming your way.
in every show. So let's see what this says from Australia. This is an interesting one. An Australian witness describes his encounter with a shadow being that was extremely tall with antlers. He then describes a bizarre orb that he thought was a meteorite, but then it slowed down. So this was forwarded to Lon by his friends, Cam and Kyle of Expanded Perspectives. Oh yeah, they got a podcast as well, Expanded Perspectives. I used to love to listen to them way back in the day. I'm from New South Wales, Australia, and I just wanted to share my experiences with what you call Shadow Man and an orb experience. First of all, I'll start with Shadow Man. But it's definitely not a typical Shadow Man. But anyway, since a young age, I've had recurring dreams of the same figure in my room. I thought it was normal and just a nightmare until I was a teenager and read up in sleep paralysis. And basically, that's what I've gone through since childhood. Two experiences stand out the most. One time I was meditating and I was doing, funny enough, a technique from Dr. Stephen Greer. Oh yeah, this is the what the hell does he call it? His program. Is it SETI something, or I forget. It's something 5, but anyway. He talks about meditating and contacting aliens and making contact through meditative means. So, kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
So, he says he's doing meditating from some concepts by Stephen Greer. It is trying to project your thoughts and location out to the cosmos or wherever your thought vibrations go. And anyway, I asked to meet intelligent life that wasn't human. Stupidly, I didn't set any specifics. Well, that night I awoke in my bed and just knew something was coming in the hallway. I sleep with my door open, and I hear steps into my doorway, a very tall 3D shadow silhouette. It was so tall I could only see to the top of its chest. My heart dropped and I realized I was paralyzed. It ducked to come in my doorway. It had a tall, slender body. I'd say 7 feet, antlers, and a snout. I couldn't see the legs as I was frozen in bed. I could barely move my lips to swear at it. You son of a bitch. Anyway, at this point, I was just over it. And this has been a recurring since childhood. So I was angry more than scared. I managed to taunt and wave a hand to come get me. And in that instance, it was in my face and I blacked out. Yeah, careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You're going to call me an idiot, but I did it the next day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, as if one wasn't enough. Again, the exact same, but this time I said I only want to meet life that has my best intention in mind. It happened again, but this time I wasn't paralyzed. At the front of my bed were 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids. They walked me outside and down to the road where 2 adults on tables, both with long hair. They were all wearing silver skin-tight onesie suits, and the whole time I was just freaking out. I was saying to myself, don't forget because you're gonna. I just thought I wouldn't remember, so I tried to stay calm. As we stood in the middle of the road, we were just looking at each other. No one said anything. Somehow I just knew what they were all thinking, and it kind of felt like family. In an instant, we showed up into the sky, and I just remembered looking down at everything. I blacked out. I don't remember anything else. My orb story was in 2012. Do you remember when everyone thought the world was going to end? Well, that's the relevance to this story. One night, I and my friend went out. It was probably around 10 p.m., and just across the road, just above the trees, was the front of a public school. There was a bright bluish-white orb the size of a basketball, and I'd say it was 15 feet in the air because there were rumors the world was going to end, and I thought, what I was looking at was a meteorite, and because it was the size of a basketball, it was actually a huge meteorite in the solar system coming down and going to kill us all. My heart dropped, and as I was watching, it began to do circles as it was moving. A big glowing tail came off of it. The orb met up with a tall creature, a big ring of light in the sky. I grabbed my friend's shoulder and almost pulled his arm off. I couldn't speak. I couldn't tell him what I was looking at. I just pointed, and when he was looking around going, "What?" he finally looked in the direction, and it floated down and was gone. I was just waiting for a big crash, waiting for the world to explode. But no, nothing. Nothing happened. This was before the days of drones, so it wasn't a drone because drones don't have massive glowing tails of light, and they aren't that big. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, sure. I mean, it could be a personal, could be a personal experience. Could be. I mean, again, the problem with some of these visions, like especially the being vision, how much of that is actually manifest versus how much of it is just maybe projections. And I don't know. And I'm not trying to cast doubts on it, but I don't think in a lot of cases you can take all of this stuff at face value. I couldn't move. I saw a shadow figure, so it must have been really there. Maybe it was, and I don't know, but I think that it's important to try to weigh this stuff against logic.
Yeah.
You know, there's too many of it out there where people will say so many things and other people will say, I believe it. And that's it. It's just somebody says something and other people are willing to grab onto that.
Yeah.
And I think there's plenty of fantastic stuff in these corridors of the unknown, that there's plenty of oddness going on in the world, but I still don't think you can just say, I just believe whatever you say. You know, and maybe that's just me. But does that make sense, Sheldon?
No, it does. I mean, how much is you versus how much of it is actually a thing that's, generally going to happen, or just in general.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look at tulpas. I mean, even the same way.
Right. Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Tulpas are a projection. If you're not familiar with it, it's from, I think the concept of tulpas is from Buddhism, but it's the idea that we can manifest things. Maybe it's based on fears. Maybe it's based on good things. It doesn't always have to be negative things, but we can create things that appear to be real and normal. Well, not normal, but real.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah, not normal, but yeah. So again, believe what you like, believe what you want. I think these stories are very interesting, and it could have all happened exactly as this person says. It could have all meant exactly what this person thought it meant, but it could have been something else too. I don't know.
God, that brought back memories though of when they were saying the world, that one organization or those one group of people were saying the world's definitely going to end on 2012. That's when the Aztec calendar ends. Yeah. It's all going to end. Even I was like, but what if it does? But wait, what if it doesn't though? Like, what if they were right? This is a prophecy. Like, what if? And then I woke up the next morning like, oh, okay, we're live. Okay.
And we're back.
Okay, we're still live.
Yeah, I mean, they've been saying things were going to end forever, probably. There's certainly been advents in the history of the world where things have ended, and I think that there's plenty to support that in the terms of like out of place artifacts and stuff that seem to suggest that there are objects that show advanced races that are found next to mastodon skulls or other unlikely places.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then maybe there is reboots that happen, but the other part of it is I just have to say that I don't think it does anyone any good to focus on those things anyway, because if it doesn't end, you still got the same problems you had the day before. And if it does end, it's not going to matter what you thought anyway.
And if, like you're saying, if this is the Matrix and maybe this is the fifth iteration, just like the movies, who knows? But
right,
like you're saying, it doesn't really change what's happening right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. We still got the same issues either way. This one has to do with more with a kid communicating with a deceased relative, actually. And I did post a video over on our Discord. And if you're not familiar with Discord, we have a Discord, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to get involved with it, the link is in the description on YouTube. Just click the link in there. It's discord.gg/paranormal portal. And you can
join. Guys, I'll help you out, just in case.
https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And that will get you to our Discord server. But I posted a video that I thought was very interesting of communicating with spirits, and it wasn't, the video is not what I thought it was going to be. It's actually a Casper site video, but it's him watching Sam and Kobe or whatever, two YouTubers that have like 10 million subscribers, and they were doing some stuff at the Conjuring House, but they ended up meeting up with, and I'm positive that this is the case, but a girl and a guy, and I think the girl is actually Jason Hawes' daughter. Jason Hawes, of course, from Ghost Hunters fame, because she actually appeared on Ghost Hunters and did some of the stuff that she was doing there. But they were doing this technique where her and her boyfriend hold each other's arms, and then these spirits come and just tap out answers. And they have had some really fascinating stuff come up that they were able to zero in on by this form of communication. And I was really blown away by it. So if you have some time, watch that video, because it's pretty spectacular. And maybe it's not just them. Maybe it's something anybody could do if you could find the right person to connect with and see if you can get into that mode. But very interesting stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so this has to do with communication. I've always been very envious of little kids being able to have entire dialogues with these unseen people. Just like regular discussions. What could you learn? What could you learn from talking to someone who's passed on? What do you see? What is your experience like? What do we look like to you? How has it changed? What's different? I think that would just be incredible. But here's a story from Phantoms and Monsters dealing with a young cousin conversing with recently deceased grandmother. Very interesting indeed. Young cousin conversing with recently deceased grandmother. All right, here we go. A reader comments on an unexpected encounter that I had posted, offering a story told to her by an uncle who watched and listened to a younger cousin conversing with the ghost of her deceased grandmother. I received the following account from a reader. Hi, Lon. My uncle told me a bizarre story. A few years ago, my grandmother passed away, and my younger cousin was about 4 years old at the time of my grandma's death. So, a few days before my grandma's funeral, my uncle walked into the room. My cousin was in hearing, the room my cousin was in, hearing her talk to someone. He asked who she's talking to, and she says, Grandma. He told me that he got creeped out and didn't know what to do. The story is what really made me believe in the paranormal. The way that he described it to me just made it feel so authentic. I have a so-called ghost story that happened to me. So a few years ago, I was sitting in my living room where we have this sliding glass doors that lead out onto the patio and onto the backyard. On the left side of me were the windows, and the sliding glass doors came across the living room on the opposite side. I must have been about 10 or 11 It must have been about 10 or 11 at night. Thank you. Since it was pitch black out and I was reading a book on the couch. I remember having a weird feeling and an urge to look out the sliding glass windows. And when I did, I saw this 5-foot-tall figure walking, more like floating, across the yard. I remember just staring at it, thinking it had to be the headlights from a car on the street. I went back to read my book and then decided to look out the window to my left, and the shades were drawn, so there was no possible way it could have been car headlights. I never got up and locked a door so fast in my life. My mom has a few ghost stories, one with a Ouija board that's caused me to never try the game as long as I live. Too creepy for me. Well, there's no real... I mean, the person didn't really go into the discussions that were had. They built up this story. Yeah, they built up this story about talking about the cousin talking to the deceased grandma. But what was said? What happened? Oh, that's a frustrating one.
Lame.
Kerplash.
But at least they don't mess with Ouija boards. That's really good.
Yeah, I think that's good too. Here's one that I was excited to read you guys tonight. Again, this is one that comes up so rarely. These stories come up so incredibly rarely.
Oh.
Did I meet a vampire while bar hopping Seattle? Now,
interesting.
Here's the thing. I know that I think there is a valid source of some kind that this legend of vampires and such stems from. I think that it's probably a real phenomena in there somewhere. Now, again, I did interview a witness that claims to have seen a vampire on 2 occasions in his life, and it's the person is pretty convinced that he's somehow been tagged by these things and that they know him for some reason. Just to paraphrase it, the first experience this person had was he was a kid, lived in a double-wide trailer with his dad and mom, I think, and he was about 4 years old, and he'd always like to crawl up on the counter in the kitchen, and he was kind of mischievous that way, but he was doing this again, and he looked up and saw out the window there was a very strange-looking man looking at him, but like looking through him. It's crazy because the next time he looked down and looked up again, and it had moved like 30 feet in a blink and was now just outside the window looking at him. And he said it just looked hungry. It was just staring at him, trembling, but it had like kind of a palish purple kind of skin. And it was very, very human looking, but not quite. Had like a red glow to its eyes. And it was just looking at him, trembling like it just wanted a bite. And he said that he looked away and yelled for his dad to come into the kitchen and see what was in the window. He said as soon as he turned, said, "Dad, come here, check this out." Turned to look back, and this thing was already like 60 feet away and was running at a blinding speed up to a 7-foot fence where it leaped over the fence. And he saw all of this. And he said he felt like he was in a daze the time when it was looking at him, like he was kind of compelled or whatever, felt like it was reaching out to him. And he had another encounter later in life with a very similar kind of being, not the same one though, but also exhibiting the supernatural ability of movement, speed, and jumping. And he thinks that he saw a vampire. And I would encourage you guys to go back and listen to it on the archives of the podcast. Again, Paranormal Portal podcast is available everywhere, just in case we get some new viewers that aren't familiar with it. And it's an audio podcast, and it's available on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, CastBox, any of the platforms. Just look for Paranormal Portal. And I don't remember exactly what I titled the episode, but it's something about a vampire, and I think it's season 3. It might have been season 2, but definitely probably season 3. And I think it was season 3. It's a really interesting take just to hear him walk through that whole experience, the initial one and the second one. And this happens. So I did many times try to do shows. I used to do shows on YouTube here and streaming shows about a theme. I would try to do a theme. I constantly wanted to try to do a vampire theme, but not just the deep historical, oh, they thought he was a vampire, they digged up the body, it looked fine, except bloated and blood was running out of his mouth. So they cut his head off and stuff and nailed his body down in the tomb. Not like that. I was looking for stories like this guy had found and come to me. And I'm just grateful that he did, because I have no doubt these stories are out there. I think they're exceptionally rare, but I think these things are a part of our world, whatever they are. I'm not saying that they are the undead, but they are something different. And they look like
probably
us.
not saying they're not like Twilight ones either.
Yeah, I'm definitely not thinking they're sparkly or anything like that. But I think that they are incredibly reclusive. There's a possibility that some of the missing 411 stuff is due to them, if they are really out there. But in any case, I tried to do these shows talking about vampires. I've only run into just a handful of stories. I haven't read this one yet, so I'm probably building this up a lot more than I should, but I just like to talk about the fact that these are hard to find. Any stories that talk about really encountering a vampire are incredibly rare. But when I looked and researched as much as I could, all I could find was the goth counterculture where they wear fangs, glued into their mouths, and they maybe drink some blood, and they it's just a counterculture thing, though. It's more like a type of goth, dressing up and putting on that persona. It's not the real thing. That's not what I was looking for. So it was either these ancient stories of these villages that had people dying mysteriously from illnesses, and digging up a recently deceased person and seeing that they looked like no time had passed since they were buried. Their corpse looked fresh and stuff. So they would behead them. They would stake the heart. They would build cages around the grave so that they couldn't rise again. So I found a bunch of those. I found a bunch of counterculture people being interviewed about how they are vampires, but I couldn't find much about this. So when I see stories like this, I do get excited, because it's like, oh, here's another one. What did this person experience?
Do you happen to know what the earliest reference to vampires is? Is it? I just don't know. Is it like Vlad the Impaler or anything like that? Or is there earlier accounts of it?
Yeah, Vlad Depeche seems to be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how exactly he got attributed to the vampire lore directly, because they really isn't one and the same. But somehow in history, since he was Vlad the Impaler, and I don't know, was so ruthless and brutal that maybe they put him in there as if he was an undead. But I don't know. I'm not sure. But there are references to these creatures going back, I think, even further than that. I don't know. Again, the histories are real hard to track too, but it's common folklores in many old villages of these things. But how do you trace that back to an actual history? I don't know.
Yeah, true.
All right, a woman and her friends are hitting the night spots in Seattle when she encounters a man who claims that he's a vampire. He seems to know everything about her, which is alarming. I received the following account. Over the holiday period, 3 days before New Year 2012, my girlfriends and I decided to explore Seattle's nightlife. I've lived in Seattle over the past 5 years, but had never really investigated the city's nightlife, much to my girlfriend's annoyance. My girlfriends are fully aware of this fact, and begrudgingly, I went on a pub crawl. After hours of trudging through the cold night and visiting many bars, we finally discovered a bar in Belltown, which was located away down an alleyway. I don't know the name of the bar. It was dark, and I wasn't attentive at this point. This was our final destination, and I was relieved. I was the designated driver and had stopped drinking several hours earlier. So I wasn't feeling the euphoria that was shared by my girlfriends. In fact, I was miserable. I remember the entryway into the bar had 2 stone steps. I stubbed my toe on one of them as I ascended the stairs, which is why I remember. The interior was dark. It was small, packed full of punters. I don't know what punters is.
I don't know either.
And had a very sticky floor. We managed to push our way to the bar and ordered some drinks. We stood near the bar. The place was heaving. My girlfriends had already consumed the first lot of refreshments and they were drinking like fish, so it was the best place for us to stand. I pushed my way to the bar a second time to get the girls more drinks, and whilst I was standing at the bar, I was flanked on the right by a group of men who were loud and crass, and to my left was a man probably 6 foot tall or so, with dark short hair and wearing a gray t-shirt. I didn't pay much attention to anyone as my focus was to attract the bartender so I could order the drinks. The man on my left spoke to me, but I couldn't decipher what I heard. I turned to look at his face and his stare was quite piercing. I noticed he had really dark eyes, but then he was backlit, so part of his face was cast in shadow. When he touched my shoulder and said something, at first I couldn't interpret it what he was trying to say. There was just too much noise, music blaring, punters talking, and laughing. It just sounded like a roar until he touched my shoulder. And the noise just drifted away, similar to when one inserts earplugs in to reduce noise. At first, I couldn't comprehend what happened. I think I was dazed for a minute or so, and then he started to speak again, and I could actually hear him. He asked for my name, and I provided my real name without thinking. Then he asked who my friends were. The chit-chat carried on for a couple of minutes, and then he told me he was a vampire. Wow. That's not something you usually just spit out, is it? I scoffed at the statement, and then he showed me his teeth. His teeth were nice, actually. Bright and shiny, and he had a slightly elongated canines. I didn't believe him. I thought the teeth were glued on and thought my girlfriends must have bribed him to poke fun at my skeptical nature. I asked him if he likes to role play as a vampire, and became quite persistent in questioning. He was adamant he was a vampire, and got frustrated, so I asked him to prove it. He said he could bite me to prove it, but I rejected that idea. I'm not naive to think blood disorders can't be passed through a bite. He mentioned he knew where I was from, which I thought was easy since I have a British accent. Where I work and roughly where I live now. I was astounded, but when he clearly stated I was from the north of England, the northern coast near Blackpool. Actually, I was born in Preston, Lancashire, which is 15 minutes from Blackpool. He stated I worked for an aerospace company and that I lived 40 minutes south of Seattle. He mentioned that I was married. The married part was obvious. I had the wedding rings on. And then he stated that I had a little girl. At this revelation, I was truly nervous. I didn't believe he was a vampire, but a stalker. He knew too much about me. I wondered how he knew I had a little girl. I was actually panicking at this stage. I quickly walked away, pushed my way back to my friends. I didn't turn around to look at him, and quickly told my friends what had occurred. We left the bar within minutes. We had to walk a little, and as we approached the car park, my friends noticed the vampire from the bar standing next to a bus shelter. I quickly ushered my friends into the car park and got out of Seattle as fast as I could drive, hoping he didn't get a chance to see the license number. Over the next couple of weeks, I was questioned a multitude of times by my friends and have been asked to inspect every single aspect of that night. The night in question, I was cold stone sober, so I know what I saw and heard. However, I'm still dubious that he was a vampire, but I'm not sure what he was. I was definitely astonished that he knew so much about me. I can't explain how he knew so much. I'm essentially a foreigner in this country and don't have much information spread everywhere as most U.S. citizens. It's hard to track me unless you have access to immigration databases. And anyway, this is my weird story. You can interpret this tale how you wish. I, on the other hand, have learned to be more careful about places I visit in the future. I don't know. That's a weird one.
Interesting.
It is. I mean, it also just could be a yarn somebody blew up. Is it real? I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about this.
Really weird. I don't know. I mean, just even literally, I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. It's like, if that's a real story, then that's creepy for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of those stories that's like, really? And
I,
but who, if you were a vampire, and knowing how people would feel if you really were a vampire, would you go and say, I'm a vampire? No, really, I'm a vampire. I mean, when you get to that point, that's at least a few months into the relationship, right?
if I was socially inept, I would just say, yeah, I'm a vampire. Yeah, true.
Ooh. Did you hear that one?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Any words?
No, nothing. No words tonight, just stop-ins. But yeah, I mean, it's like you don't open with the vampire part. That's absolutely a quick way to get lonely.
Maybe when you talk about vampires, they summon them.
Yeah.
Are you alone?
Well, that is kind of interesting that you say that, because that's certainly been suggested many times, not only just here during the shows, but in my life experience dealing with all these topics, is that, you have to be careful, because some people suggest that by virtue of talking about them, you're actually signaling to the cosmos about these things. And I don't know. That Consquatch was the ghost radar. I don't know what it was, to be honest with you. I have no idea.
If there was an existence of vampires, what version would you prefer the most?
I'd prefer vegetarian.
Well, there's none like that. So try again.
Well, I guess I'd prefer, honestly, if I had to pick.
Is it gonna be Twilight?
No, I don't know. That's so cheesy.
But
I mean,
probably the safest one.
Yeah, I mean, at least their cognition about the fact that they don't want to eat people, and they seem to have a heart about it. So yeah, I mean, probably if there were real vampires, I'd rather they were like the Cullens rather than Lost Boys, or something like
Lost
that.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I want to suck your blood.
I think Underworld would be like one of my last picks, because that also means that lichens are definitely 100% exist.
Well, we already know they exist. Yeah.
Oh, well, yes, but I'm just saying, like the nasty kind.
Yeah.
Even.
Well, there's that. Yeah. I don't know. I even in Twilight, though, the Cullens were the only good ones. It sounds like the rest of them were all bastards.
Well, there were groups of them, but yeah, that's true.
Well, they just didn't have much trouble like farming people,
Yeah, true, actually.
Yeah. So usually you hear a vampire, it's like, yeah, it's not usually a good ending. Like Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be like that, but I don't know.
Actually, you know what? Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what do I know? I think it's an interesting take, though. It's an interesting story.
What do we know? Not a whole lot when you think about it.
No, really not at all. No. Really pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a vampire story. So what do you guys think? Do you think there was really a vampire at a bar in Seattle telling people he's a vampire? Or at least her? Had he already singled her out? Is there a telepathy part of this vampire thing? Maybe. I think it's interesting, though, because again, I'm just going to repeat myself. I think there's something to this stuff. I think wherever there's a legend, there's some piece of truth that spawned a legend. I mean,
yeah,
something happened somewhere where something happened.
Wow, Dad, how insightful.
Yeah, well, I mean, to give birth to the stories is my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, y'all be the judge. It'll never be the scope of the show to try to make you believe anything. I just like having discussions about the weirdness that we discover and discuss and see what you guys think. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
The universe is full of unknowns.
Well, exactly. And again, I'd have to return to if you believe there's 8 foot, 10 foot tall ape people walking around, then, you kind of have to have an open mind for other things. because you can't just have your stuff and then everything else is just a bunch of bunk. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's obviously,
You
you're
could, but you're a little bit of a hypocrite, just a little bit.
yeah, it's very hypocritical, I would think. So I don't know, just some thoughts, but you know what I know? This show is almost
It is
done.
the end. My God. Yeah.
It went fast, didn't it?
It always does.
It always does, ladies and gentlemen, because that's how we roll here in the portal. But I want to thank you all for being here and being a part of the journey. Hope you guys enjoyed it and had a good time. Thank you all to everybody that came in, has been coming in throughout the shows. I appreciate it. And I'll be back tomorrow night to do it all over again. So if you want to join me, by God, join me, because I'll be here with no co-host tomorrow night. And we'll do the Discord question of the week. Remember, those of you on Discord, get over and answer the question of the week if you would, please. There wasn't many responses today when I looked at it earlier. So I'm hoping some of you guys have gone over and answered Chucky's question of the week. I appreciate it. But that's going to do it for us. So remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll be back. Hit the paranormalportal.net, homepage of the Paranormal Portal. So find all the social links and stuff there. So until next time, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., we'll do it all over again right on here on YouTube and Twitch and TFR. So until then, good night.
Good night.
Want to hear it? Sheldon?
Yeah.
Want to hear it?
Want to hear it?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Sure.
Here it go.
Okay.